Hey, I'll see you on tour in Las Vegas, Chicago, and Grand Rapids. In Chicago, it's stand-up and a live panel show. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and make sure you go to jimmydore.com. SpaceX is leaving California for Texas because they passed this new law. The new law says that, well, here's the new law. California is first state to ban school rules requiring parents get notified of child's pronoun change. So now the school will lie to a parent. Wow. And what Elon Musk says is, because of this law and many others that preceded it, attacking both families and companies, SpaceX will now move its headquarters from Hawthorne, California to Starbase, Texas. And there you go. I guess this was the final straw. So California has become so PC that the supposed smart ones, Elon Musk is supposed to be a genius, they're going to pull up all their roots and go through the hassle of moving. How disgusting do you have to be to gross out nerds? They love everything weird. California became the first U.S. state to bar school districts from requiring staff to notify parents of their child's gender identification change under a law signed Monday by Governor Gavin Newsom. This is like the equivalent of, like, in the 80s and the 90s, you'd hear that the right-wing Christian school boards or whatever, they were making it a law that you had to pray in school, you know, that kind of shit. That's what this is. On the other side, the law bans school rules requiring teachers and other staff to disclose a student's gender identity or sexual orientation to any other person without the child's permission. So we've come a long way since the kid coming home with an earring or a tattoo, right? I mean, now the kid shows up. Anyway, long story short, these are my new tits. Am I right? Come on. Proponents of the legislation say it will help protect LGBTQ plus students who live in unwelcoming households. Now, I know that that's true. I know that exists. But opponents say it will hinder schools' ability to be more transparent with parents. I get that there are problems in situations like that. I don't think the solution to that is to have a teacher lie to a parent as a policy. I'm just saying there's got to be a better solution to this. The legislation comes amid a nationwide debate over local school districts and the rights of parents and LGBTQ plus students. This law helps keep children safe while protecting the critical role of parents, said Brandon Richards, a spokesman for Newsom. It protects the child-parent relationship by preventing politicians and school staff from inappropriately intervening in family matters and attempting to control if, when, and how families have deeply personal conversations. Was there a big problem? Was there a big problem of were teachers calling up their students' parents saying, "Hey, guess what? Your kid's trans"? Was that a lot? Was that happening a lot? I'm asking. Do you think a parent doesn't know what their kid is gay or trans? If a kid is genuinely trans, you don't think the parent knows? You don't think the parent knows there's something going on? You think the parent has to call up the teacher? Hey, what's going on with my kid? Do you think that's what's happening? This sounds like a virtue signal thing. The new law comes after several school districts in California passed policies requiring that parents be notified if a child requests to change their gender identification. That led to pushback by Democratic state officials who said students have a right to privacy. Now, while you're a kid, your kids don't have any privacy. I hated it when I was a kid. I'm not saying that they should, but I'm just saying That's weird. Jonathan Zackerson, an advocate in California who supports the so-called parental notification policies, opposes the law and said telling parents about a student's request to change their gender identification is critical to the well-being of children and for maintaining that trust between schools and parents. States across the country have sought to impose bans on gender-affirming care, bar transgender athletes from girls and women's sports, and require schools to out trans and non-binary students to their parents. Some lawmakers, I don't know. Now that I think about it, I don't think you should be required. If a student asks to be referred to by a different gender, I don't think it should be required that the teacher then calls the parent. I don't think that should be required. Because believe me, that parent knows already. Some lawmakers, but I agree with the other stuff, the athletes in the school, in the locker room, and the sports stuff. Some lawmakers in other states have introduced bills with broad language requiring that parents are told of any change in their child's emotional health or well-being. The California law led to heated debate in the legislature. LGBTQ plus lawmakers have shared stories about how it was difficult for them to decide when to come out to their families, arguing that transgender students should be able to share that part of their identity on their own terms. I agree with that. But this is very culty. Like the way cults work is the first thing to do is they detach you from your family and your parents. This sounds a little bit like that. I could be wrong. State Assembly member Bill something said a Republican representing Riverside County is an outspoken opponent. He has criticized Democratic leaders for preventing a bill he introduced last year that would have required parents to be told of their child's gender identification change from receiving a hearing. So his bill didn't receive a hearing. In Northern California, the Anderson Union High School District Board approved a parental notification policy last year. But the teachers' union recommended that teachers not enforce the rule while the union is involved in a labor dispute with the district over the policy. The notification policies put teachers in an unfair position. It's kind of a lose-lose situation. It is for teachers and administrators or anybody that's being asked to do this. I don't think it's safe for students. I do not think that we are the right people to be having those conversations with a parent or a guardian. I guess I'd have to agree. I mean, I don't know, who could argue against having your shop teacher tell you how to bolt on a pair of breasts? Am I right? He said, I did make it clear to Governor Newsom about a year ago that laws of this nature would force families and companies to leave California to protect their children. Hey, I'll see you on tour in Las Vegas, Chicago, and Grand Rapids. In Chicago, it's stand-up and a live panel show. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and make sure you go to jimmydore.com.